That might be an important piece for people in India to be reading, where divorce is going up.
Ooh.
Imagine this. Indian divorce rate, according to BBC, has doubled. And although globally India still has one of the lowest divorce rates compared to other countries, there's certainly been an increase, particularly among the urban middle class, whose lives have been changing very quickly. We were just talking about that earlier in terms of how people are changing social class and moving out of their parents' aspirations to explore their own. Well, in some cases, especially with men and women both being really engaged in their careers, the marriages don't work out. And there is even a website now called secondshadi.com, where, because divorce is becoming more common and more acceptable in India, there's this second chances website for people who are interested in finding a partner a second time. So things are really definitely changing, and it really shows a little bit of that culture clash between old India and new India.
It is tough, second time around, to go dating and reinventing the road to marriage. This one is very nice, secondshadi.com. I guess it short-circuits the entire dating scene and the others. More power to them. Now, talking about India, if you happen to get a visa and you are going to India, you're actually going to have a lot of fun. India has changed. It's a lot more tourist-friendly. The food is great. The sights are great. There's so many people. Wonderful. But watch out for the cars now. Understand this about the cars. In India, as you know, corruption is rampant. So when you go to get your driver's license, what do you get? For $65 without even giving a test, you can get a driver's license. I mean, imagine, they are buying as much as 2.4 million cars every year. How many of those drivers haven't really learned driving properly? Look at this statistic. You know how many cars America has. We buy from 13 to 16 million cars every year. Our fatality rate on the roads is 37,261 people die every year because of accidents. Look at India. India, there are 119,860 people that died in 2008 due to traffic accidents. 3 times the amount of fatalities for, I believe, is 1/10 of number of cars. This is really alarming. So, folks, don't try to drive yourself. You don't know these roads. It's a good idea for you to get yourself a car for hire or something like that and go out on the streets.
But, you know, I would argue it's not just corruption that's causing all of these fatalities and people without driver's licenses. You have far more pedestrians on the streets,
yes,
right, and cyclists and people on motorcycles and on different kinds of animals. So certainly the look of traffic is very different in India. And also you have road issues. I mean, there are some roads that are still in really terrible condition, which of course contribute to some of these accidents. So I hear you. Corruption's definitely an issue, and you should be careful about who you hire to drive for you when you're in India. But there is a number of other factors that contribute to the fatalities that we see in traffic accidents. Well, you know, talking about Indian cars, you've probably heard of the Tata company's car called the Nano. Now, the Nano is only $2,200, really inexpensive. It was supposed to make cars far more accessible to the Indian public, cheap, affordable, small, so that they can fit on tight roads with lots of traffic.
So that even those who live in the jhupris can have a car outside.
Apparently, that's the idea. But the Nano is not seen very often on Indian roads, and sales are quite slow. So with all of these dreams of making cars more accessible to everyday Indians, the people's car is not doing well. And what they're saying is that part of the issue is the safety issue. We've talked about how some of these cars have spontaneously burst into flames, which was very concerning to a lot of people, and Tata's promising to take back and really fix any problems that they have with those cars. Not calling it a recall, though. But the other issue is that of image. People know that this is a cheap car, right? And we are a very image-conscious society here in the States. Indians are also very image conscious, and so owning a car is a sign of status. And if you own a cheap car, what kind of status does that show? Probably not that great. And so there are all kinds of families who really actually could even afford to buy one of these nanos who are opting not to because it doesn't look good.
Oh, I can fully agree with that, you know. I mean, it's better to have a motorcycle because this is a two-seater anyway. And no, you're right. There's no stature with Nano.
Yeah, so they're really trying to revamp the image. Of course, there are other car companies like General Motors India and Maruti Suzuki who are producing inexpensive cars, not as cheap as the Nano, but those cars are still seen to have better status than the people's car, so to speak.
One of the other things that happening in 2010 and 2011, we watched a lot of food TV. So the food TV decided to give us another channel, another 24 hours of food. So we are watching a lot of food being made, but that has not transferred that the food is being made in the house. A lot more people eat outside today than ever before. Competition, the Iron Chef and the American Iron Chef, these are great shows. They show competition between two chefs. They are bringing that type of a competition in the offices. Now, here in Washington, D.C., we are blessed. We have 4 or 5 places. They're like stadiums. You know, they have cooking facilities all over the place. So employers, in case they want to create the camaraderie, the competition between the employees, they're holding, instead of the tug of rope and the baseball, they're saying, now, come on, let's meet it all in the kitchen, and we're going to cook up a storm. Of course, some of the companies, they want to do for charitable purposes. They want to cook the food and give it to poor people. But so much of it is, you know, bonding with people. I can make a better hamburger than you. Let's have a competition. $95 per person. You can go and enter into a competition, and you can really do good. So I thought this is an interesting story. In Washington area, we have Let's Dish Culinaire Open Kitchen located in Maryland, Washington, D.C., and Virginia. And so I like it. I mean, I love to cook.
I think it's taking team building to a whole nother level because
That's right.
You're always looking for ways for your team to function better together. Maybe around food and cooking, this is a way to do it. I'm also wondering if they put in all kinds of challenges. I imagine like in an office setting, you have people with different dietary restrictions. So you want to be able to prepare food that everybody can eat. And it's not always easy, you know, with like gluten allergies and vegetarians and all this kind of stuff.
Now you're going in details.
You can't order pizza anymore, right?
That is so true. But I also want to tell you that these are the places where busy moms, single moms, large family people can go and in the quiet with help being available to